Welcome in to the DNVR Avalanche Podcast. We got AJ and Rudo coming to you live. Look at that, Paul. Thank you so much for becoming a member. You can become a part of the supporter crew today. Jump in. Sign up here on YouTube. It's an amazing way to support us. You also get access to behind-the-scenes content, and you get some amazing emojis to spam in chat that I will be demanding happen when the Avs start scoring goals in the regular season during our watch-alongs. So we appreciate y'all. Sign up, get your name shouted out, do all that good stuff. On today's show, we are breaking down the goalies, or at least talking about the goalies of the Central Division. I think there are some pretty clear-cut winners and losers in this division when it comes to goaltending. There's some in the middle too, but pretty well defined for a lot of the teams, I would say, in this division, where they're at with their goaltending. Hockey is an interesting sport. Go ahead.
One of the most interesting things is when we were putting together some data and looking at numbers and stuff, getting ready for this. It was like, there isn't a bad tandem here. Like, there isn't a tandem that you're looking at going, that team's in real trouble. Like, there are some tandems that underperformed. We'll get into that. But like, there isn't one that you're looking at going, oh my God, this is bad money for them. And that's one reason why I think collectively, he's not on today, but I would include Eric in this, that the three of us are so confident that the Central's going to be so competitive, is the goaltending, top to bottom in this division, solid. And has a chance to be much better than solid, depending on what some of the bottom tier teams can do.
Yeah, I haven't deep dived some of the Eastern divisions as much, and obviously there's some very good goalies over there. But on a team for team basis, it might be the best goaltending division in the league. It's certainly better goaltending than the Pacific. I would put it to you that way on the whole. Some of those
Pacific teams are bad. And I mean, like the Ducks, like the Ducks are saved by Dostal. The Flames are saved by Dustin Wolf. But like, tandems are two goalies.
Right.
The Sharks are entirely reliant upon Yaroslav Askarov living up to the vast potential that he has shown in his career. But when he's not in net, you're like, well, this is a loss. This is a waste of time.
Yep. Next, please.
Yeah. The Pacific's kind of a stinky division. I mean, Edmonton and Vegas at the top. You look at the goaltending for both of those teams, and you're like, I wouldn't say is a strength for either club.
I would certainly not Edmonton. Yeah.
Yeah. Vegas, I would say, is more middle of the road, depending on how you feel about Adin Hill on any given day.
It depends on what Adin Hill looks like on any given day. So.
Yep.
But yeah, it's a division that is not going. There are no easy outs in the Central, I would say, at nearly every position, which we'll get into next week as well. But for goaltenders, I mean, look, should we just start with the Avalanche and we can kind of deep dive the guys we're expecting to watch for 82 games plus playoffs this year? Obviously, Blackwood and Wedgewood are here for the season again. The Lumberyard is going to go to work. And there's a lot of good here. It's hard not to be confident in what Colorado has, but the question is, what does a full year look like in Colorado? Blackwood, obviously, the clear-cut starter. Wedgewood, the backup. This is not really a split-time unit, but Wedgewood will still play plenty. Go ahead, AJ.
I just not deep analysis here. I'm so glad we settled on Lumberyard and not Woodpile or whatever the other alternatives were that were floating around. Like, Lumberyard it's cool, dude. Like, it's a cool name for a tandem. How often do you actually get to like name your tandem, like give it a nickname like that? I think it's so neat. So I feel EJ talked about it yesterday on the pod that this is the best, most settled goaltending tandem that the Avalanche have had since they won the Cup in 22. And you look at the performance of these two guys. I went and looked up the fancy stats because I'm a huge nerd, and that's what I do. And both of these guys, minimum of 600 minutes played, goals saved above expected. Mackenzie Blackwood was 8th just in his Colorado tenure, not combined with his San Jose, purely in his Colorado tenure. Mackenzie Blackwood is 8th in the NHL. Scott Wedgewood was 21st as a backup. You're talking about him being the 21st most effective goaltender in the league. That's great. I mean, you're doing great work if that's what you're getting out of these guys. And that is, honestly, it was probably better than I'm expecting going into the year, especially from Blackwood, where if that's how good he is, then you're talking about a top 10 goaltender. And I think he's more of like a top 15 goaltender. So, a little bit of variance here. I'm expecting there to be a little bit of a lower bar for him just because his first like 11 games in Denver last year were
outrageous.
bonkers. Yeah, it was like every game was over a 900 save percentage. He didn't give up 3 goals in any of them. So that goosed the numbers a little bit, but I definitely feel pretty good about where they are with Mackenzie Blackwood. You give him you give him a full training camp. You let him settle in behind the system, and it's fun for like the observer because Mackenzie Blackwood and Scott Wedgewood are such different goalies. Wedgewood being a lot smaller, relies on athleticism and pure chaos to do it, and he's got that like moxie, that guile, that like he's gonna talk some trash after a big save, and he's gonna try, and he's very vocal. He's very just a big personality on and off the ice. It's a lot of fun to watch. And Blackwood is just like that guy where he just stops the puck, he just does his thing, and when he's in the zone, you're like, you're not scoring on him. You're not watching him scramble around. You're not watching him do anything crazy. You just watch him. He's just big. He reads it well. He gets across well. He combines all the physical elements that have made him goalie people's like one of their favorite goaltenders, up and coming goaltenders for a long time. And we saw him start to really come into his own last year in both San Jose and then in Colorado. Despite the shaky end in the first round series, so much to build from for Mackenzie Blackwood.
Yeah, I mean, there's clear room for improvement in the playoffs. We'll get to that conversation for multiple teams, probably, to be honest.
Yeah.
But for Colorado, look, the fancies, I think, should give people a lot of confidence. How much of a difference that makes, because when you look at a team like the Avalanche, especially when the Avalanche are healthy and playing their best, they don't give up a ton of goals. They're not the best defensive team in the league or anything when it comes to goal prevention, but they are a team where they're making a goaltender's job a good bit easier on their best nights. And someone like Blackwood still finding a way to be top 10 in goals save above expected in that environment means he's not just riding the coattails of a quality defense in front of him. He's performing on an individual level there, as long as you don't get him into a shootout at very least. So you got that going.
Do not get into a shootout with him. It's not going to go well. We've talked about we got to witness the unicorn last year where he won one. Don't try to repeat that. Just don't mess with it. Win in regulation or overtime, please. Thank you. And I will say I see somebody in chat has already mentioned playing Wedgewood more to keep Blackwood fresh. Frankly, I don't know that the pace that Blackwood played at in Colorado last year needs much tweaking. He was on a 57 game pace if he was in Colorado all 82 games. That's kind of where I want my starter. Maybe like you could argue like if you get it down to like 52, you feel a little bit better. But I mean we're depending on injuries and who's hot and who's not at the time. Like I think that 52 to 57 range is probably where I would like for my starter to be.
Yeah. I was thinking from the opposite side. If you're looking at a backup, 25 to 30 is the number you're looking for out of a backup for starts, which adds up perfectly with that number. Look, I don't think there were any real fatigue issues with Blackwood last year. The first 4 games of the playoffs he looked great once he got comfortable. Obviously, games 5, 6, and 7, he fell off a little bit, but it did not seem like a fatigue issue there. So, do have a little bit of a typo there. The save percentage on the year is .912 for Blackwood, but no big deal on that front. Certainly Blackwood on paper is the best starter they've had since Kemper. It's a weird conversation if you go back further than that on Grubauer, who was good here, and then his career has completely collapsed. If things work out even reasonably well with Blackwood's contract, he should be on pace to be the second best goaltender the Avs have ever had. Just given on the tenure that contract gives him. But then you have Wedgewood on the backside of this, who, everyone knows how much of an important piece Francouz was in the Avs 22 Cup run, which in a perfect world, you're hoping Wedgewood does not have to do something like that. You just need health for your starting goaltender. But there is some confidence with the backside of this tandem too, right? You can throw Wedgewood in there, maybe not for extended stints, but on any given game, you feel pretty good about dropping that guy into it.
Well, the thing with Wedgewood is that he has had extended stints as as a starter for a team whose number one got hurt. We saw it for a little while in Dallas, and he thrived at times in that role. And he's a backup for a reason. There's been some variance in his play. It's a little bit like a relief pitcher in baseball, where you can get 2 excellent seasons, and then for whatever reason, that third season, you're like, what happened there? And then the fourth season, back to being solid. That's, I think, what we were seeing with Wedgewood last year. And he was awful in Nashville, and then got to Colorado and was rock solid. Again, I mentioned 21st in goals saved above expected in his 19 Colorado games. That's what more could you want? And he was great in the locker room. That's a guy that used to sound in very quiet, very shy kid, very kept to himself. Your tandem last year ended up being at the start of the year ended up being kind of poison, because Georgiev was actively melting down on the ice on a regular basis, and then you have kind of this shy, quiet kid in the background as the backup, not getting much support from the starter. As a young player that needed some help and needed to learn and grow, didn't get a lot of that, and your tandem collapsed, and both of those guys were horrible. And the difference from when Wedgewood got in and his game hit a great level, because those numbers are Wedgewood's, that counts his 5 disastrous games in Nashville. If you just look at his Colorado tenure, he has a .917 save percentage. He was great. He was great.
It's real good. Now, don't get ahead of yourselves. You will see backups with better save percentages pretty consistently. There's a reason for that. They play easier competition. They play less. So don't overthink it. But certainly when you have a backup that is putting up low-tier starter numbers, that is an advantage that not every team has. A guy you can trust back there for real. All right. AJ, we can probably adjust this as we put more teams on the tier list, but as is, where would you put the Avs goalie tandem on a tier list of goalies for the Central Division?
For the Central, I'll say A.
Okay. I would agree, I think.
Yeah, I've got 2 S's ahead of them, but I would have them as an A.
Yep. I certainly have 1 S. I think the other one is debatable. Also, let's establish this right now. For our tier list, are we including playoffs, or are we just talking regular season?
I think just regular season, because the backups don't really come into play very much in the postseason, and we're talking tandems.
Yep.
So,
all right, cool. We will we'll throw down the Avs in the A tier, and then we'll move on to the rest of the teams in just a minute here. But we do have to pay a few bills first, so let's make sure. Jump in, play some sports yourself. Don't just hang out and listen to hockey. You can go get in with all sorts of different social sporting events with Volo, Denver's most popular provider of adult social sports league pickup games and more. You can play volleyball, kickball, pickleball, soccer, cornhole, many other sports as well, anywhere in Denver, Lodo, Rhino, City Park, Highlands, you name it, all over the place. Even if you're not in Denver, if you're in a populated area, there is a Volo chapter near you that you can get in with. So jump in. It's a great way to meet new people, make new friends, be social, and stay active in a fun way. You can get in today. Players can sign up as a free agent, a small group, or as an entire team at any ability level and background. Volo welcomes in everybody. And if you're here in Denver, make sure you use code DNVR10 to get $10 off any Volo Denver league. Once you're set up with Volo, get your exercise and sports in. You know what? After some Volo, you've earned yourself an ice cold Coors Light. Make sure you jump in and choose chill with Coors Light today. The mountains turn blue on the bottle or the can to let you know it's ice cold and ready to drink. And the coolest part is you don't have to go anywhere. Sure, you can go to Volo, you can come into the DNVR bar, you can get yourself a Coors Light. But if you have the day off, Labor Day coming up, you can sit on your couch, go to CoorsLight.com/DNVR and get Coors Light delivered right to your front door. It's the easiest way to choose chill. Of course, Coors is cold lagered, cold filtered, and cold packaged for a smoother finish. So get it delivered today. Jump in, make the most out of the times you choose chill, and choose Coors Light. Again, get Coors Light delivered straight to your door from CoorsLight.com/DNVR. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. Please celebrate responsibly. Second period of the DNVR Avalanche podcast. All right. We'll just go through the rest of the division alphabetically since we have the Avs slapped down in the A tier for now. Do not believe things start with one of those S tier teams, as alphabetically first would be Chicago. Now, Chicago is an interesting case. Because I don't know that the goaltending is necessarily bad, but the team in front of them is certainly bad. And then you have this added twist that we don't have on the graphic here because Laurent Brossoit just didn't play last year. The injuries and all of that, but he almost certainly will factor into their tandem some this season. It's just a matter of how they end up running things. But we only have stats for Soderblom and Knight from last season. And obviously things don't look great for a bottom feeder team.
Yeah, and I think Soderblom there was a lot of enthusiasm about his game. And with Knight, Knight was interesting because he had some unbelievable performances, especially right after he got traded there. But his bad performances were train wrecks. And so his stats kind of leveled off a bit where you look at him and you're like, this actually isn't that great. This isn't that great. So he's and it's really about Knight. Knight is the guy. He was the big piece in the Seth Jones deal. He's been one of the top goalie prospects.
Been waiting for a net for years. Yeah,
like 6 years now. So this should be it for him. Like, this is his best opportunity to lock down a job long term as an NHL starting goaltender. And I still have them. I would have them at D because they're still not good.
Yeah, I would agree. Probably the worst goaltending in the Central.
Yeah, I would say definitely the worst goaltending in the Central, but the one with arguably the most potential to rise.
Sure, upside for sure. That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, and with both guys, because as we'll get to in a second, Nashville's in a different spot where they've got one guy that you can certainly expect a strong season from, and one guy that you're like, I don't know about that one. With both of these guys, I think they could both have big improvements this year, especially as the defense in front of them, if it comes into its own a bit. I think that it could be a much better situation by game 82 than it is in game 1 for these two goaltenders. But for right now, we're ranking who they are D tier.
Done. Put them in D. Not that I'll just ask you and we'll get into it. Okay. So starting to turn the corner, but still bad. Got it.
Yeah. Turning more of that roster over to the kids that they've been drafting and waiting on for a few years now. You feel good about their overall direction, but honestly, until Connor Bedard has the big superstar breakout, you're right now.
You're
You're
just
like,
waiting.
at best, you're thinking they are what the Detroit Red Wings have been for the last 4 years.
Even that would be a
Until
big step forward for them. Yeah.
it would be, but I'm saying right now, that's their ceiling. That's the best
Sure.
case scenario for them until Bedard has that, like, I am here. I am everything that I have been built up to be. I fully believe in me. AJ is stupid for not including me on his young list. Like, until that happens,
Yeah.
they're not doing anything meaningful.
They have. It's not like they've built a bunch of stars around them yet either. Like you said, young guys that need to prove themselves. But let's move on to the next set as we go from the bottom to one of the teams that should be at the top when it comes to goaltending in the Dallas Stars. Obviously, a fantastic year at backup for DeSmith. Ottinger was, I would say, good, not great. I think expectations of him are a little bit higher than what he put out in Dallas this year. But Dallas is a good enough team where good, not great is certainly good enough for them in net.
Ottinger, an interesting one because the save percentage will be a little bit lower, but the fancy stats really like him. Goal save above expected, 7th best in the NHL last year, right in front of Mackenzie Blackwood at 8. Colorado, Mackenzie Blackwood, not
sure.
Colorado, Mackenzie Blackwood. Even though he had a worse save percentage. So Ottinger, I'm still, like, I've always been an Ottinger guy. I'm still kind of buying that stock. And again, we're ranking tandems here. Casey DeSmith, very good. 13th best last year, goal saved above expected. Right in between Linus Ullmark and Joseph Woll. So, like, that's exactly what you want out of your backup. I think he's one of the first backups on even on this list. He is the first backup on this list. So you're talking about last year, he was arguably the best backup in the entire NHL. That raises the floor of a tandem very, very, very high. And I don't know how that you could rank them any lower than 2 in the Central Division. So I have them at S tier because if it weren't for Connor Hellebuck's single-handed brilliance, I wouldn't have Winnipeg quite this high. At 1, but I would have them as an S because I think that Winnipeg is probably 1 or 2 in goaltending in the NHL, and Dallas would be also top 5 for me.
Yeah, Winnipeg is clearly S tier for me when we get there. Stars, I agree with you, are 2 in the division. I think I would have them closer to A, though. So let me just ask you what the separator is to move them up a tier.
I mean, if Ottinger really had that, like, wire-to-wire performance, because I think there was some inconsistency with him that made it feel worse than it actually was.
Sure.
But I mean, I love the guy. I think he's great. He falls apart as the postseason goes on, like multiple years in a row of it happening. But, the playoffs are hard, and Edmonton scores a lot, so that's tough for him. But I think the big separator would be that if Ottinger can go wire to wire, maintaining that really high level, it would push Dallas up a tier in your eyes. For me, they're there, but for you, I think that's the easiest.
Yeah, sure. I have them ahead of the Avs. You're nitpicking A or S tier at that point anyway, so it's whatever.
Yeah,
but, it's interesting because we see both of the 2 top teams, and we'll get to Winnipeg eventually. 2 top teams in the Central when it comes to goaltending find some goaltending struggles in the playoffs. Now, they're a little bit different. Like you said, Dallas usually comes in pretty good with Ottinger, and it goes downhill as the playoffs go on, whereas Hellebuck hits game 1 of the playoffs and turns into a pumpkin. So maybe 2 different issues, but...
This most recent one was weird because it was like Hellebuck at home, nails, Hellebuck on the road. God-awful. Like, God-awful. And that felt like progress because at least he was nailed somewhere. So maybe this is the year where he actually is good.
Nah, let's not.
Okay, sold. Nah, sounds great to me.
We can do one more in this segment here in Minnesota, which has Gustafsson missing an O, but that's okay. And Jesper Wallstedt is kind of the young guy, which makes there leaves some question marks in backup, right? Gustafsson has been solid for Minnesota for a couple of years now. No real complaints with their spot there, but Wallstedt has 5 total NHL games under his belt in his career. So the goalie of the future, maybe, who knows what's coming for him.
So Minnesota was probably the toughest one for me to rank because Gustafsson has been excellent at the NHL level as an NHL starter.
Yep.
In multiple seasons for the Wild. I think that I would have Gustafsson in the A, but because Wallstedt is a total unknown, I would move them down to a B. On the whole, we saw Fleury last year was pretty close to league average. Was just not great. Was a slightly negative goal save above expected goaltender by the end of it. So you're really have him like he was almost like a net neutral for them. Just on ice performance, obviously vibes were great with that guy. But because of the unknown of Wallstedt, I know he's one of the top goalie prospects over the last couple of years, former first-round pick. Like I know he's got that hype to him, but until we actually see some of that, it's the same reason that Spencer Knight in Chicago's in the D tier. We need to see a little bit of proof of concept. So I have them at B right now, but by the end of the year could easily be an A, maybe even an S, because Gustafsson, goal save above expected, 5th best last year. He was 2nd best in the Central Division on an individual level.
Yeah,
but
goalie.
Without that, again, this is a conversation about tandems. Without that comfort of the second guy in the tandem, for me, they have to be in B.
It is the Minnesota Wild should be setting off some alarm bells in the Central Division. I don't know that they're there yet, but a team that has freed up a bunch of cap space by getting through those buyouts, a team that has a Kirill Kaprizov on it, and then a team with a solid goaltender to move with upwards trajectory over the next couple of years in the Central Division. Now, things have to work out. Wallstedt needs to prove he's a good goaltender. Beyond that, they need to find the right pieces, but I do think the Wild are a team to watch, not necessarily immediately, but over the next half decade.
Honestly, I think I might disagree, and I understand I'm the perpetual Minnesota hater, but I mean, like Kaprizov is great, Boldy is great. Eriksson Ek is in the heart of his prime. Probably not a 1C, probably should be a 2C.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Marco Rossi might end up taking that job from him now that the contract dispute has been settled a bit, but really, they've got so many old guys still in prime positions. Brock Faber's one of the most overrated players in the entire league. Jared Spurgeon and Jonas Brodin are still trying to do some of that heavy lifting defensively.
They're getting old,
Middleton
for sure.
has crashed, and they absolutely desperately need Zeev Buium and David Jiricek to live up to their draft slots. If they do, they will be just fine. And I agree with you. They will be a big problem if those guys hit their potential. But until they do, I'm like... they didn't do anything this offseason, like adding Vlad Tarasenko.
Yeah,
you
said,
finally free up all that cap space. You fight with one of your best young players, and you add Tarasenko, and it's just like, okay, we'll see what some of the kids can do. Liam Ogren is a guy that you want to keep an eye on.
Are they a threat this year? Probably not. But in the coming years, I do think, they have to play it right, of course. But a team I would be concerned about a couple years down the line in the Central.
And a hard out. And Gustafsson's a big part of that. A hard out.
Yep.
Not an easy team that you're going to go in and you're just going to be like, oh, this is a couple of easy points. It's not. They are, the way that they play, the way that they are built, they make you work for those points. They wear you down. They are miserable to play against. Their ceiling just isn't as high, but they've got a really high floor. And the way that they play, huge part of it for them.
All right, let's drop Wild in the B tier. You can do that in the background while I pay us a few more bills here, as we do got to do our jobs. and make sure the people know that the official vehicle of DNVR is Toyota. You can jump in with a Toyota today and get whatever type of vehicle you're looking for. They got trucks, they got hatchbacks, they've got SUVs, they got sedans, all 17 different types of all-wheel or four-wheel drive available. So if a monsoon strikes like one did yesterday evening in Colorado, you're good to go on the roads. No big deal. You'll be able to drive wherever you want. Or if you want to go off-roading, as many people do here, it's a great way to do it in a Toyota. Of course, they also have the most zero or low emission vehicles out there of any automaker. Toyota makes more than anyone with 16 different hybrid vehicles to choose from. They even have hybrid trucks like the Tundra iForce Max. So jump in with Toyota today. Visit your Front Range Toyota stores, including AutoNation Toyota, Rathbone Centennial, Corin Toyota, Boulder, Groove Toyota, Littleton, Mountain States Toyota, Denver, Stevenson Toyota, Aurora, and Stevenson Toyota West in Lakewood. Toyota, not just the official vehicle of DNVR, but the official vehicle of the Colorado Avalanche too. Toyota, let's go places. Once you get yourself into a Toyota, you're going to want to make sure you're taking care of your money because, turns out existing is expensive. You can jump in with ENT Credit Union and get yourself in with Broncos country, as ENT Credit Union is the official banking partner of the Denver Broncos and has created a Broncos checking account that's built for fans. Jump in, things loaded with all kinds of perks, things like no surprise fees, no minimum balance requirements, and the money in your Broncos checking account even earns dividends. So it's already a great checking account, but then you layer on the Broncos fan perks. You get 10% off food and gear at Empower Field. You can also get a Broncos branded debit card to show off your fandom, as well as the chance to win Broncos home game tickets simply by using it. Every 15 swipes enters you for another chance to win Broncos tickets. So jump in with ENT Credit Union. Bank like a Bronco at ent.com/DNVR. That's ent.com/DNVR and sign up for a Broncos checking account today. ENT Credit Union is insured by NCUA. Membership required. Annual percentage yield account requires associated ENT Broncos debit card. Third period of the DNVR Avalanche podcast. Here's our tier list for the first half. All of the remaining teams have pretty interesting conversations in goal. That's starting off with being Nashville. Now, UC Saros has been a quality NHL starter for a long time, but we've seen a dip in his play over the last couple of years. Yeah. Pretty fair to chalk some of that up to the absolute disaster of a season that Nashville had. He's probably a better goaltender than the actual counting stats show you here from last season. I wouldn't say probably. He definitely is a better goaltender than what the counting stats show you from last season. But then you have Annunen as the backup, so it leads to another question mark.
So with Saros, when I'm placing them on this list, one of the hardest things for me was that trying to balance who they are today and like who they've been in their careers. And we've seen Saros has been so good for several seasons that how much stock do I put in? He was bad last year. He was just bad. Yep. Again, I've continued to cite it this entire time, but of the 74 goaltending seasons, that counts goaltenders who were on multiple teams in 1 year split apart. There were 74 qualifying seasons based on my filter, which was 600 minutes. It's 10 games. UC Saros was 57th in goals saved above expected. So that's real bad. You know who 58th was? The Nashville version of Justus Annunen. So based on that, they should be in the D tier, just solely based on last season. But because I am putting some stock in the fact that we've seen significantly better from UC Saros in his career, I would say put them in C.
Yeah. I have them in C as well. Here's the tough part for me with Saros. Do I think he's a better goaltender than last year? Yes, absolutely. But he's 30 years old, which is not old for a goalie, and on the smaller side. And, I'm usually not a size queen, but when it comes to goaltenders especially, if a smaller goaltender falls off the cliff, it is aggressive and it ends quickly. If they lose a little bit of that athleticism, NHL shooters are going to tear that guy up. I don't think it's happened to Saros yet, but if he comes out and gets cooked for the first half of this next season, that contract starts to look like a disaster for Nashville.
Yeah. I mean, that contract's like just getting going.
Yep.
So, yeah, it's real bad news for them if they don't have if it does not take a significant uptick over the last 2 years across 122 appearances, a negative 1.14 goal save above expected for Saros. So,
not helping. Not helping.
Yeah, that's bad. And last year it was like negative 6 something. So it tells you that he was not amazing 2 years ago, but still like a solid goaltender. Last year, just bad.
Yep. So
maybe
a bounce back required, but
yeah, 2 years ago he was 25th in goal save above expected, and then he dropped it to 57th this last season. So that, I mean, that's where you're like, okay, 2 years in a row you've declined precipitously. Not like, oh, you're a little, you took a little natural dip. Both of those are big drop-offs for him.
Yep.
And these are, keep in mind that you can't just be like, oh, well, the team in front of him. These are above expected numbers. This is like based on the quality of chances that goaltender faces. This is how this is calculated, not just raw looking at a save percentage and going, well, yeah, it's an 896, so
I would say
he's going to be terrible.
You can still look at the team in front of him when it comes to things like if you're giving up a higher rate of high danger chances, fatigue comes into play and things like that. But yes, the advanced stats do eliminate a good portion of the team.
I mean, the point of it is to try to, as best as it can, isolate a goaltender's performance versus,
for sure,
and remove one guy played for San Jose and one guy played for Colorado. You look at it, Alexander Georgiev last year had 2 of the 9 worst performances in the season in Colorado and in San Jose. Somehow his San Jose performance was even worse than his Colorado performance. So
impressive.
Yeah, very impressive. Very impressive. So yeah, the with Nashville right now, a C tier, a bounce back from Saros. We haven't seen a lot out of Justus Annunen. He had a stretch of good games in Colorado that had us all like, yeah, all right, finally, here we go. But was not good in Colorado last year. Was not good in Nashville. So it's a really important year for him to bounce back and show that he's no pun intended here, but he's got some juice.
I mean, this is pretty much the prove it year for him, right? If he plays well, proves he can be a backup in the NHL, great. If he fails, this is it. He's out of the league, most likely. Or he joins that third goalie carousel where you bounce between a bunch of teams. And
Calvin Pickard, Spencer Martin tier of the quad A goaltender, where you're like, this is a good guy for injuries, got some experience, great, but not a guy we're relying on.
Yep. Exactly. So I'm good with C tier here. That's where I had him as well, based entirely on the idea that I think we both believe Saros can bounce back. We officially filled one in every tier. Go us. We totally planned this for sure.
Honestly, impressive considering we did this alphabetically.
Yeah.
Impressive.
Totally knew this was coming. And next up is St. Louis. This is a weird one. This is a weird one for me because Jordan Binnington is not the guy he used to be in the NHL. Had a great Four Nations up until, they lost the finals, but still had a good performance in the Four Nations.
He won that. Hellebuck lost it.
No. Canada won Four Nations, right? Oh yeah,
yes,
but yeah. I'm dumb. I'm dumb.
Jordan Binnington.
Sure,
you had it backwards. He was not good until the very end.
I just assumed that someone who's that much of a hole in net is an American, I guess.
Honestly, fair, very fair.
But obviously, the numbers weren't good for Binnington last year, at least in the counting stats. I don't really know what Joel Hofer is as a backup. He is just a blank slate to me as backup man in the NHL. He perfectly normal NHL backup. Like,
yeah, a solid backup. Funny enough, their like fancy stats, Hofer was a little bit better than Binnington.
okay.
Hofer was 31st, Binnington 33rd. So, like they were okay, which is again why I would have them in C tier. They're okay. Binnington is like the model of extremes because when he's at his best, he's one of the 5 best goaltenders in the NHL. And when he's at his worst, he's one of the 5 worst. And there's not a huge middle for him that he lives in. He's either exceptional or disastrous. And that's just kind of been him in his career.
Kind of like Craig Anderson, except for instead of year by year, it's like month by month with Binnington.
Yes. A good way to put it. Yeah, instead of it going every other year for Andy. Yeah, Binnington lives in the extremes. He is a interesting personality for the game. A guy that desperately needs to get punched in the mouth. Desperately. But like there is
show up to the fight to do that, so
well, yeah. I mean he'll show up and shout from a distance and make sure that there are people in between them. Hofer's like a solid young goalie that could I mean in St. Louis's ideal world usurp the starting role.
Yeah.
But I like you, I'm like, I don't have strong feelings about this guy, that I think he's gonna like break out and suddenly be the man, like I don't know. This is such a one of the many reasons why I look at the St. Louis roster and I just go, I mean, like we saw it at the end of last year, like it could get absolutely blistering hot under a good coach and play really well, but
on average,
that still wasn't enough.
To your organization, yeah.
Yeah, like that still wasn't enough for them. So I think C tier is where they have to land.
Yep. I think I would have them ahead of Nashville in my head, but still in C tier. So
yeah, I have them ahead of Nashville because of the quality of the backup.
Sure. With a totally unproven in, and then I'll bite on that. I'm good.
Yeah.
Next up, Utah. This one, there is a little bit here. Connor Ingram did officially get cleared from the player assistance program. I think it was like 2 weeks ago or last week or something. So expectation is he will play. And then Vejmelka is the starter, who is a guy for sure. The way Hofer is to a backup is how I think about Vejmelka to a starter.
He has a job.
Yes, he has a job.
Yeah.
Nondescript human being starting goaltender, Karel Vejmelka.
Yeah, 24th on this list. Yep. So, really 23rd because they have a guy listed twice. But whatever. With Vejmelka, like he's fine. He's solid. I don't have strong feelings about him. Ingram's more interesting because 2 years ago, there were Avs fans that were like, the Avs need to get Connor Ingram. And then he's had off-ice issues for years. Those continued. He's out of player assistance again. And they have Vitek Vanacek as their second or third goaltender. I don't really know. I would assume at the beginning of the year he's their second goaltender because Ingram should probably clear waivers. And that will probably be the hierarchy there. I expect it'll go Vejmelka, Vanacek, Ingram, but by the end of the year could easily be any combination of them because those guys have all had such strange years that I'm open to any order by game 82. It could be any order of those 3 goaltenders, and that's
I struggle to see Vejmelka falling out of the tandem. That would be, barring a trade or something. But it's tough for me with Vanacek, too, because, yes, Ingram has his problems, for sure. His stats last year while on the ice were bad, and he has the off-ice issues. But Vanacek has been a bad backup for 3 years now.
Yeah. Yeah, a guy that just keeps getting jobs, and you're just like, I mean, I guess, dude, whatever. Like, okay. He had that one really good year as a starter in Jersey, and he had like a tandem job in Washington. He was a starter in Jersey, and then it's been backups ever since.
Yep.
Not, I mean, this isn't a guy that you trust. This isn't a guy that you like. And that's, again, I would put them in the C tier just because Vejmelka is the best, most reliable goaltender among this, and even at his best, he's
Average.
Like a bottom end starter
Not
for
even
me. I
really
would
average.
have him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would have him like right in that like 20 to 25 range if I'm ranking starting goaltenders. So I've never been in love with him. It's just not a great. I just don't think it's a great goaltending situation there. They've got guys you've heard of, and
Yep.
okay, they've got a top prospect that I also don't think is very good. And chat mentions Michael Hrabal. I think he's kind of a bum too.
AJ hates big goalies, confirmed.
It's not even that, but you do know I am biased against them.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what Utah does. This is an organization for the past couple of years where it felt like, hey, they need to turn the corner and get back to the playoffs. When we get to their forward core and things like that, it feels like they're starting to make the moves to push for that. But their goaltending has been stagnant since Kemper left, basically. So
yeah, it's like they continue to churn out like NHL caliber goalies, but
not great ones.
So
fair way to put it. I'm good with them in C. It's interesting because especially with the goaltender position and its volatility, any given year, one goaltender can get hot and have an S tier year, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they have an S tier tandem because a goalie played great one year. Maybe St. Louis a better example of that than anyone else on this list. But our final team in Winnipeg, there's not really much conversation to have here. They're clearly going in S tier. Hellebuck has won back-to-back Vezinas. Their tandem won the I forget the name of the save percentage
William
award
Jennings.
Combined. The Jennings, thank you. They're the best goaltending tandem, arguably, in the entire league, not just the Central.
Mm-hmm. And Eric Comrie had the same season as Colorado Scott Wedgewood. So they got a really good backup for a really good rate. And Connor Hellebuck was absolute elite in the regular season again. I mean, goal save above expected. Third place was Darcy Kemper with 27. First place is Connor Hellebuck at 42.
It's a golf
Smoked everybody.
Them. Yeah.
Yeah. And like underrated year, Andrei Vasilevsky at 2, and Connor Hellebuck is 6 goals better than second place.
Not close, man.
Yeah, smoked everybody. The guy, I mean, earned it. Earned the postseason accolades that he had. He, I mean, is absolutely has been the real deal, and obviously, because we are talking about regular season here, and we are not getting into the postseason stuff. Like won the Hart Trophy. He's a goaltender, won the Hart Trophy, and it's like justifiably so. That's Winnipeg's team underlying numbers were like fine.
Yep.
They were a playoff team.
That team to the top of the Central. Yeah.
And they had like what were they, like 116 points or something last year? Like they were unbelievable. Largely because Connor Hellebuck was like, we're good. He had 8 shutouts.
Goals against average of actually just 2. Every night he started, you're going into the game knowing we score 3 goals, we win. Like,
it's
ridiculous.
Pretty much. And they had one of the league's best power plays. So it was like they don't even have to be that good at 5v5, and they were solid. Defensively, strong in front of him. Did not make his life hard. Like it wasn't like he was, crazy. Like he had to be insanely good. He just was.
Yep.
Like it was a good team in front of him that he made an elite team, an absolute monster to deal with. Because he just didn't have very many off nights. I mean, 72% of his starts were quality starts.
Quality.
He
Yeah.
had four actual like nightmarish games in 63 starts.
That's impeccable.
And yeah, and like if you're talking about you're trying to keep a goaltender fresh, this is probably where I would start with that conversation. Winnipeg, there was especially with the lead that they had in the division.
Yeah.
They were still playing him down the stretch. And I don't care if he wanted that. You look at what he's done in the postseason, and it's like, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? He's already locked up another Vezina at the time, the Hart Trophy too. Like, I mean, give me a break. His last 5 starts didn't need to happen. It was
just unnecessary.
Strange decisions. Yeah. He lost 12 games in regulation last year and had 8 shutouts. Like, the numbers are mind-boggling.
Yep, that's
how good he was.
Outrageous. It's easy S tier, easy number 1 rank for Winnipeg there. And it sets up a division that I think it's okay to feel confident in the Avs goaltending here. Are you going to get Hellebuck level numbers in the regular season? No, probably not.
No.
But you could compete with a Dallas.
Mm-hmm. I don't think the gap between Dallas and Colorado is very large. The gap between Winnipeg and Dallas is probably larger. Now you've got me believing that they should be in the A tier as well, but I'm sorry, but two goalies that finished in the top 15.
Yeah,
I'm just like,
hard.
That's an S tier team. That's an S tier. So, yeah, no, I think the top of that division is really good. We came in being like, oh yeah, like no bad tandems, and then we put half the teams in C or D. Haters. But also, like, we both will acknowledge if UC Saros and Jordan Binnington both have really good years, those tandems move up.
They move up. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, they move up. And Minnesota moves up. If Jesper Wallstedt is decent at all and Gustafsson remains the same caliber, that's an A. That's an A tier.
Agreed. I think that's the good way to put it. Most of the teams we ranked low have a lot of potential upward movement if things go well, except for maybe Utah. I don't really know, but
I think Utah. I agree. I think Utah's probably just where they're going to be. There isn't a lot of upside there.
Yeah. So opportunity there. Of course, anyone could also have a disaster season, and then they're moved down a couple of pegs. But that's goaltending. I don't know what else to tell you. There you go. You can see the full list there. Realistically, let me ask you it this way as we're winding down here. What is the most important position in the Central Division to be near the top at? Is it goaltending, defense, or forwards?
Oh God.
Yeah, it's a hard question.
I'm always going to say defense, because even if you're a high scoring, high flying, whatever, if you can't slow other teams down, like a bad defense hangs out a great goaltender to dry, and his job doesn't matter at that point. Like, the goalie can only do so much, and the forwards can only outscore so many problems. So I think it has to be defense, but I think it would probably go defense, forward, goaltender, but forward and goaltender, like if I have to rank them, but because we've seen every year, we see good defensive teams that have good goaltending and just cannot score. Look at Calgary last year. Had to like garbage their way through a regular season where they ended up being a 96-point team that misses the playoffs. Did not score nearly enough for that. They were nowhere near as good enough offensively to be a team pushing for the postseason. If you just can't score, like, you're not going to win games. So I would say defense, then forward, then goalie, because we see like mediocre goalies do okay and get teams pretty far every single season. But in the
Stuart
Central,
Skinner just
in
lost another
particular,
cup final.
right, man. I mean, Artur Shilov's like almost stole a second round series from that team. You know, like we see some of this stuff happen all the time. Michael Hutchinson almost won a come from behind series for the Avalanche.
Yeah.
Like was like 2 boneheaded Nazem Kadri plays away from
being a conference final goalie.
coming from a 3-1 deficit to get to a team into a conference, whatever. So I think that's probably my order of it. But like, if you really wanted to argue with me that it was goalies over forwards, like, I think that's a great question for Eric, because it just might be personal preference. It might just be like a team building philosophy that gets you there.
I think it's definitely personal preference to some extent. I do like the defensive answer, though. In a lot of ways, to me, the defense feels like the connective tissue, right? If you have a quality defense, you're connected to your goaltender and it makes his job easier. And then you're connected to your forwards because it makes things like the breakouts easier, like we see in Colorado. So I do think in a way the defense affects
where
the
Minnesota
game
is
more.
the example.
Yeah.
Like Minnesota, always a good defensive team. And that makes them competitive on a night-to-night basis. It makes the goaltender's job a little bit easier. Is Philip Gustafsson really a top 10 goaltender in the NHL? I don't buy it, but results are results. Like, it's right. Like, you have to give him some credit and just be like, look, it's not his fault he plays in that system behind that defense. Like, they provide an environment for him to thrive, and he does. So is that goalie? Is that system? It's both. The goalie's not just gonna thrive, and be like, well, I'm super good and I play in a trash system. Like, it's very rare that actually takes place. So, but Minnesota's a great example of that connective tissue. It's a great way to put it.
Yep. That should just about wrap things up for today. If you aren't a diehard, go become one. It's a great way to, get access to all of AJ's written pieces, which are fantastic, by the way. I know I mentioned it on the other show, but really, go read the Nature's piece. Too many of you are going crazy on social media. Go read the Nature's piece and see all the details on it. Beyond that, it also gets you a shirt.
Go back and read the Mikko piece.
Yeah,
I think that'll also clear up a lot of things, too.
Go check that stuff out. Get a bunch of perks as a diehard, including a shirt and many, many other things. But we are wrapping up. We're going to be off on Monday. Hope everyone has a good holiday weekend. Beyond that, we'll be back Tuesday. And not just about. We made it to September. Next show will be in September. So make sure you're getting ready for rookie stuff. I have another trade tree video for you next week. So it's been fun. We'll be back on Tuesday. This has been the DNVR Avalanche Podcast, and we will talk to you then.
We all silly like the mayor.